and welcome to this episode of Gardener Gone Wild. For a moment I wasn't sure exactly where I am, but now I know I am in fact outside of Otari-Wilton's, what is it? Nature reserve, or let's have a look. Otari-Wilton's bush. And no, it's not just one bush, it's a whole heap of bushes and trees and all of that kind of good stuff. And I'm here. And now I actually know where I am, which is exactly what we're after. So what we'll do is we'll just get away from the traffic, go through this rather ornamental car park. Never thought I'd be saying that. And yeah, through this awesome archway. Oh, do I hear a stream? I think I hear a stream. And this is an alpine garden. It's quite neat being able to see all the dwarf alpine species. And here we have a peaceful little waterfall and all of that good stuff. So going through the alpine garden, and I'm not exactly an expert on a lot of these, but basically they look like little hebes and more little hebes, and so we need to find a label for this one. Is there a label? Do. Anyway, let's continue along. So this isn't the garden, obviously. Well, this is part of the garden, but this is obviously not it. As you can see, there's quite a lot more to this place. Basically, okay. I think I've got a telephone call. That's just productions checking up on me because well, we obviously got the bus to get here, right? And obviously didn't film it, but I actually had a bit of a jog to get here because we got off really early on the bus because with the way the buses are often laid out, it's really hard to see out the window sometimes. And anyway, so all of that aside, I'm here now, and this is the treehouse or Otari Information Centre at Otari-Wilton's bush. As you can see, we have a totara, and we have the decking custom built around this trunk. I mean, let's face it, who can't complain about that? Oh, looks like this section is cordoned off due to slippery surface. Interesting, I never cordon off my back deck when it gets slippery. So you can see we've got a really good view off the hills here of this awesome little bridge built, and down into the valley and up. And the sun is kind of spoiling the view a little bit, but we'll move on and look at these tawa trees. It's not actually often you get to see the really get to see the foliage on the tawa trees. At least I think they are tawa trees. Yet again, I believe thoroughly that they are tawa trees, but there is 0.1% I could be wrong. And we have a drop. That doesn't look like that much on camera, but yes, of the joys of boardwalks over the forest. You actually get to see the foliage. Oh, I was right, tawa, woohoo! Get to see the foliage on the trees, unlike usual when they're so high up that half the time you can't see them unless they're seedlings. And we have Matai here. Matai and Miro look very similar, But the main difference between Matai and Miro, other than the colours of their berries and even the taste of their berries, is the fact that the leaves on the Matai don't feel pointy. They actually feel, you know, smooth enough to pat and have a kind of fondle. Probably not the right term. Yeah. So unlike the Miro, which I haven't found an example of right yet, but I will bellow out if I see one. It actually is, the leaves feel prickly to the touch. And obviously that's quite a big one. Also, oh, I actually can't remember the difference of the colours, but they do have different coloured berries. One's red and one's black. Yeah. Anyway, I'm distracted because there is a Tico month. At least that's how I think it's how it's pronounced. And Tico month, or I think it's a Free King's Vine, is another name for it. And basically this is an example of a conservation success story, because it was pretty much, I think there's like only one individual left of it or something really ridiculous like that. And basically they took, you know, lots of cuttings and propagated it lots. And it's a really nice ornamental plant that you can grow now. All due to basically conservationists going out, you know, ecologists, yep, you know, going out, finding it, realising that basically, you know, it's possibly the only one in existence, and making sure that it, well, isn't. Here we have the perching astelias. Yeah, the astelias, you know, those native lilies I was talking about on a previous video. And I'm afraid these aren't actually the happiest specimens here, just mainly because it's quite a lot of sun coming in here, and I've always found they grow better, just get my shadow out of it, they always tend to grow better when they've actually got some shade, like the ones over there are looking definitely a lot healthier, just because they're a bit further down. And basically, as you can see, they've only sort of got a little ball around their roots, and that's actually an epiphyte, so an epiphytic plant. And that means obviously they don't need to be growing in soil, they can grow in arboreal habitats, so that is, you know, perched up in trees and placed on fences like those ones were. And yeah, you know, they actually collect up water in those sort of the little forks where the leaf around the base of the plant, you know, where the leaves come out. And yeah, pretty much sums it up. Clever survival strategy if you want to take advantage of light when there is dense tree cover, which currently we're not looking at dense tree cover, but see, dense tree cover, well, not that dense, but dense enough. Obviously there's, you know, other kinds of epiphytes and climbing plants, like the ones growing up this totara here. And this one, if we look back a bit, see if we can get sort of the sun right, is a golden totara. See, it's the sun reflecting off it, and that is obviously because of its yellowy colour. And unlike the normal totara, which is generally just a darker shade of green. And yes, obviously a cultivar of totara. It's quite good in landscaping and makes really great hedges. And as we're moving along, I've got this really nice little grove of lancewoods over here. In fact, it's actually a really good grove of lancewoods. I mean, just look how many there are. And you can see them from the younger ones. They just have those, you know, sort of really rough, like you really don't want to be rubbing your hands up and down these, you just don't. And all the way to slightly more mature ones, like that one's Spitzbin Leon. yeah, so they're more mature ones, and that's what happens. They start off like that mainly because New Zealand used to have moas, and moas were a grazing bird, and basically how many grazing animals would really want to be eating that? Like, they'd rather eat stuff up top, but of course they couldn't reach it. So moa is pretty tall, but not that tall, clearly. So moving on down through this cool little boardwalk here, we go down a path. And that path will take us down by this totara with the supplejack vines around its base. Down past this noise of the drain. Magical drains. There's actually quite a few kauri trees here. Didn't realise how many there were. It's like they're all planted in a row. And we're going to go down to the picnic area. So down we go. Not sure what happened with the camera there, but sort of my finger ended up on the zoom and we ended up with a blurry mess. So hopefully we didn't ruin too much footage. It's hard to keep my eye on the camera the whole time. So we're nearly there. See, we're already a lot lower than we were. And down these steps. Quite like when steps are spaced apart like that. Makes it so much easier to run. Yes. Would be a view, but it's quite shady and the camera doesn't pick it up well when there's such a strong contrast. So down we go. Bloop. And one little quick note. One key characteristic of a manuka plant is that the stems are often covered with sooty mould. Yes, you heard me right, sooty mould. And obviously sooty mould is a fungus. And that is why these stems look so black. Manuka tend to get a lot of this black sooty mould because there is something called a manuka beetle. The manuka beetle sucks the sap out, excretes the sugars, and that provides an ample environment for this sooty mould to grow on top of. Now, obviously it doesn't really harm the manukas because most of the time it grows on the trunk and sometimes the underside of the leaves. However, as you can see over here, it's not a problem on the manukas, and actually we don't have an example of another plant on with it right now, but in Namanu Nature Reserve in Waikanai, there was one section of forest where it's just black with that sooty mould, but obviously I haven't got footage of that. And yeah, sooty mould doesn't harm the plant directly, but if it's on the tops of the leaves, it can actually block out a lot of the light for photosynthesis. And obviously, since that is the only real reason why trees have leaves, kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yeah. I could have actually wrapped that up, but meh. There's all this nice scenery. I don't really think lecturing is the most important thing to be doing. Just look at it. I mean, it's nice grassy lawn, all of those trees all along, and see if there are any eels down by the stream. Because I was, doing some work with the conservation program, and it's the first time I'd properly been here for ages. Oh, eel. And what I was saying is, of course, I saw eels around here. Eel. Such a rare sight. Hello. Eely. And off the eel goes. See if any no eels around the side. Oh, you're coming back. Oh, there's more. There's 2 eels. Not sure you can see it that well here, but so they wave a. Oh! It's eel fighty time. Oh wow. I mean, eels are just great. Basically, they're a sign that you actually have an ecosystem happening, because basically eels are obviously, they're pretty much scavengers. They're basically scavengers. So that's why when people toss out old meat and everything off a barbecue, for example, the eels will go along and eat that. And basically, the way the eels have their teeth arranged is that they don't chew their food, they just swallow it up. So their teeth are actually arranged on the inside part of their mouth, and that way they can basically swallow their food whole, and the teeth, you know, several rows of them down the throat, help to grip and hold on to the food. So that way they can swallow quite large hunks of, you know, meat and other things like that, and swallow it down whole. So basically they're very well adapted scavengers who don't use their eyesight. They use their extremely keen sense of, in a way it's like touch, you know, it's like vibrations on the surface of the water. So say if you know, so it's the vibrations of something splashing, you know, falling into the water is what will bring over the eel. And, you know, it can be something like even from a rat swimming across the water to a bird falling in or something like that. See, I can't really see any more eels at the moment, but yeah, that's basically how eel works, more or less. Could have given you a much more in-depth explanation, but God, just looking at those eels is so distracting. In a good way. It's like a really good distraction. So up we go. Up the steps. And you probably don't want to watch a video of me just plodding up steps all day. So that is why I'm going to stop. After heading up a bit, already the bird song is more obvious, as you can see. Well, you can't actually see the bird song, obviously, since it's a sound. And the birds are incredibly good at hiding. However, do you hear the tui in the distance? Or is the camera seriously that bad at picking up sound? Either way, if I had better kit, that would help. So yeah. So obviously we're going up to the 700-year-old rimu, which I haven't actually been... Oh, hello birdie! Haven't actually been up to see before, so that'll be good. And after all, rimu, which hopefully I'll be able to show you soon, are quite a long-lived tree, known as, I believe, red pine by the settlers, even though it was not a pine. Obviously it's a conifer, but not a pine, and the wood was highly prized. Being highly prized basically meant that it got cut down quite a lot. As you can see, more of the perching lilies over there. See the way they're just in this huge big clump on the trunk there? And that's what they do there. Yep, the seeds get dispersed by birds, they get themselves lodged in a little nook or cranny of the tree, and there they grow. Woohoo! Just look at that! And yeah, I know there's that old expression of, you know, widowmaker, you know, where there's, you know, the big old dead trees, you know, really just fall over any storm, and obviously if they fall onto you, you know, they've often, yep, you know what I mean. And yeah, these can actually fall down. It's not terribly common, but it does happen, especially after storms. But seriously, if you're walking underneath them, very minimal risk, unless you see lots and lots of them falling down. Even then, minimal risk. As we head up through this amazing forest, we see where it has fallen down. Or maybe it hadn't actually fallen down, but it was just cut down. Either way, it's not a problem, and they never are a problem. And they actually don't survive long when they're fallen down, because they get too much water. You know, it's too damp from down on the forest floor. And obviously, sometimes there's enough sun, often there is, sometimes actually too much sun. So it really does depend. They generally find the right places to grow and just stay there. So Whoa! This is it! The 800-year-old rimu. So, let's get a bit closer, shall we? We have the trunk and the root system, which I can't really get on camera because there's lots of soil blocking away. We actually have stuff. Oh, that's actually, what have we got growing up there? Interesting, some kind of climber. Woody stems, could be a rata, not sure. I can sort of see some foliage here of it, but kinda, I don't actually know what this climber is growing up it, but it's impressive nevertheless. See some of the spread of the branches, just some of it. Wow. It's not the biggest tree I've seen, but it's just got such a shape to it, you know. You can see everything that's growing up it is astonishing. And yeah, just look at that. We even got a really thick bark here, and that bark just slowly peels off with age, obviously. Because looking at this tree, right, you know, the main part of this trunk that's actually living is just a thin layer underneath the bark called the cambium. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in other videos, but obviously what happens is the part that's, you know, inside of a tree, inside of the cambium, becomes the wood that then sends the water up. The outer part becomes the bark, and obviously this cambium layer keeps getting wider and wider, and once bark, you know, is growing, it obviously can't really expand, so that's why bark just cracks off. It cracks off, newer bark's created underneath, and that cycle continues and continues as the tree's girth increases. And just look at that tree. Wonder if we can get a good view from another point. So, gosh, you can just see, you know, the amount of undergrowth. Oh, it looks like we've been doing a bit of conservation work around here. Oh, we've got like bags of earth. Wonder if they're like doing track building. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Like, it's just earth. Real weird. Real weird. Anyway, just little. Oh wait, no, that's probably not the 800-year-old one. There's another one. How did I not notice that other rimu there and another one? Oh my word, there's probably a whole bunch of them perhaps. I have to keep going along this track to see, but it's just stunning. Wouldn't have noticed that if I didn't go through this little clearing. Just look at the form and shape of them all. It just look like out of some other world, really. Now, real different from, huge difference from the more common forest trees. Now, sometimes in a forest, you reach the end of a track, and that is when there used to be a track going along here. But there is no longer a track, and you have to go down a diversion, which I'm about to do so. We have some more rimu trees. Two of them. See, there's one here, one here. Did I lie? There might be more. Nope, I think that one's tawa tree. This big one here is a tawa. That's a kahikatea, and that's another kahikatea. So, there you go. Plantification sorted. And down we go! Whee! Over the stream, and up this way. Oh, this is, whoa! That's a difference. This is the legitimate 800-year-old rimu. Wow. 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 Just look at the scale of that. Entirely different tree. Let's look how thick the bark is. Look how, you know, it's all fissured because different parts of that cambium have grown faster than others. And those fissures also help to buttress and support the tree. So as it gets bigger and heavier, just look at all those big clumps of astillas. They're like floating islands. Just think of how much weight that tree has to support. You know, really makes you think engineers could learn something from these trees. And it's pretty basic structural principles. So even, you know, makes you wonder if they could use the principles of trees to design pumps. That'd be amazing. Because of course, you might be wondering, of course, all that foliage up there needs a lot of water. All of that needs water. And look how far down that trunk is. So, you know, the plant has a conductive tissues, and using the pressure of transpiration along with the adhesion and cohesion of the water molecules within the vessels of a plant, takes the water right up to the top. And I believe that's actually one of the main limiting factors of the size of a tree, is basically how structurally stable it is, and obviously how much pressure it takes to take the water all the way up to the top. All I can say is that's just something unreal. That's all I can say. It's right up there with, you know, the big kauri and Puketi forest up in Northland, which visited once, but of course I think I might have some photos. Yeah, I've definitely got photos, and but obviously don't have video of it, obviously. Which is a shame, because back then, you know, I didn't think I'd be having this awesome YouTube channel. But wait, there's more. Like, is today's episode just going to be admiring these giant rimu trees? I keep thinking, you know, found the largest ones. But wait, there's more. No, whoa! Look, yeah, you can't see it that well from this angle. If we head up a bit further, there's one that might actually be bigger than that one, or just as big. Or only a small amount smaller. And yeah. So let's have a look. Oh my god, there's more! There's more! This one's not in such good a state. See how trunks is cracked open like that? Yeah, that's what happens. Wood rots. Whoa. I think that tree might still be alive up the top. I bet it's also got astillas on top of it. It's a living one further along, just over there. But yeah, as I was saying, the only living part of the tree is that thin cambium layer. So all of this heartwood inside is prone to decay. As you can see, to zoom in a little bit, we've had generations of boring insects, fungi, and probably a few curious karaka coming along in recent years and hoovering up some of those beasties. So this tree is basically a goner, which is tragic considering how big it is. How big? But there's still a whole heap of huge ones. Now, the huge shame, of course, about these big trees is that they can't be grown in a human's lifespan, or several humans' lifespans, or in fact the lifespan of a whole civilization. I mean, if we look back just 100 years to, you know, 1920, just think of how different the world was back then. Just you know, I mean, what, this is 2 years after World War I ended. That's, yeah, 8 years after the Titanic sunk. And New Zealand seriously only had about 1.5 million population or something. It's probably something entirely different to that, So if I get around to doing my research, I shall put it in the bottom of the screen here. And of course you might be wondering, what does the mysterious person behind the camera look like today? Hello, I'm here. So see, I'm still here. I just have decided to point the camera mostly in front today, because I can. Now I'm really wondering, whoops, muddy puddles. I'm actually wondering where I am now. So might just have a look at my map. I'll just beep. Believe we might have left most of the rimu because we're in tawa territory. I know, tawa territory. Such a good ring to it. You know, it's quite funny, you know, obviously there's a town around here called Tawa and I need to get around doing a video there. But the irony is I haven't actually seen any tawa trees there yet. Tawa rimu. Yes, another rimu. Oh no, wait, no. Oh, hang on. Duh, it's a kahikatea. Just look at the bark. And in fact, there's this handy sign. And don't worry, viewers, I have been correct up until this point, I think. So, my kahikatea. It's actually quite interesting how good a specimen of kahikatea this is, considering it's up on the slope. Though there's a bit of quite damp around here, so I understand how. It's by itself. There aren't really any big kahikatea trees nearby. So how does it do it? That I wonder. But obviously kahikatea, it's another conifer. And unlike the kauri and the rimu, which were prized for their timber, the kahikatea's timber is actually not of terribly high quality. And it's quite funny because I think it's something along the lines of when Captain Cook got here, obviously this is up north way, he eyed the vast stands of kahikatea and thought, you know, the sheer amount of bounty of timber if they were cut down and milled. However, he didn't realise, of course, they were in swamps, which meant timber extraction was exceedingly hard. And two, kahikatea wood isn't terribly durable, and a good deal of the trees were already rotten. So, in the end, I think kahikatea trees may end up being sort of cut down a lot, say during the 40s, so that the low-grade timber was used for things like butter boxes, and these swamps were drained and put in with productive, not farmland, aka paddocks, which were designed to turn cattle into food, using grass that doesn't grow well on peatlands and so forth. Really smart idea. Definitely. So, already, just a sort of a change in the forest. All these small climbing ferns about, supplejack, and just the fact that the air just feels damp. Yeah, that's why they're called. That's why New Zealand has technically got temperate rainforests. So you look at it, I mean, kauri is obviously a relative of mahogany. So it's quite literally a tropical rainforest tree that grows in not so tropical climates. There are some other temperate rainforests in the world, one of which I'd like to mention is of course Vancouver Island, though I think that's what it is, and that's a dead one, and there's a living tawa right next to it. I think that one was a tawa, I'm not sure. This is definitely a tawa with a big lichen on it, and yeah, gosh, I didn't realise how many big trees there'd be around this way. It's astonishing. And yet again, just keep climbing up. Just look how fat those roots are. It's like a big fat leg and a big fat body. And it's like a walrus. It's actually a walrus. I think it's a walrus. I think it's a walrus. I think that's a huge tawa tree. Oh wait. No, it's a kahikatea. This one's a kahikatea. And further down was tawa. Pretty good big specimen of kahikatea. Generally don't see them that big. Mainly because they're generally all cut down and burnt down and all that horrible lovely stuff. And there are only small sections of pre-European vegetation remaining. And a good deal of those have had their more valuable trees, like, you know, the kauri up north, and the rimu around here, and obviously up north as well. And yes, even the kahikatea, even though that turned out not to be a particularly valuable tree after all. Now, I think this one gets the fattest tree award. Fat tree, at least down the bottom. And it's a kahikatea. Not sure if you can see the foliage. It's kind of hard to see. Because, you know, with these big trees, you know, you have to judge not only by the bark and the trunk and all of that, but some of them do look similar. And especially when they get covered with layers of moss and liverworts and lichens, it gets quite hard to tell. Now, gosh, just it's amazing. And just the way certain sections of forest are in shade due to the undulations in the landscape, and certain sections of forest just have that tinge of sun in the upper canopy, and all of that's due to perspective. Just look how the roots radiate out from this. Actually, this looks like a karaka. Yeah, this is a karaka. In fact, I'm not sure whether some of the ones I said were kahikatea were karaka. But just look at these leaves. That's a karaka tree. Kahikatea trees have them. Wait. Whoa. This. Yeah, this is a kahikatea. No, maybe they just are different kahikatea leaves. Huh. Yeah, look, kahikatea. And karaka. Seems as if there's this little kahikatea tree growing out from the base here, which has basically been enveloped by a karaka tree. And to think this has been like this for many years now. Just hard to believe because, you know, this kahikatea got enveloped by this much larger karaka, which you can see these actual side shoots are coming from the trunk. So they're karaka. Yep, that's karaka. However, this one is definitely separate, coming up from the ground here. And obviously has kahikatea leaves. So, astonishing to think, you know, that's been like that decades, maybe 100 years, probably maybe not 100 years, I don't know. Anyway, that tree's been enveloped for quite a long time. Definitely longer than I've been around. Which I've only been around, what, 20 years? So I've only lived through 1 millennium. But, yeah. Oh, that's the remains of a boardwalk or path of something. Anyway, this is a nice clearing. And, I think I'm going to need to head back from here because I don't have enough time to go off there because it actually takes you quite a way off. So I'm just having a nice scan around. So these are mostly kahikatea trees. You can see by the way, you know, this little branch is sort of, whoa, that's actually a really nice sort of silhouette angle happening there. That is cool. Whee! And I'll be teleported to the next part. So, we're back to this little clearing here. And, went up that way. Going down this way. Now, footage might be quite bumpy. Just because of how slippery it is. Sort of need to jump up and down a bit on every step. And that way I won't slip. So when I try to stabilize the footage too much, it doesn't really work. So You can see it's quite a little narrow path here, squeezing past some vegetation so I don't go down the bank. And yeah, our little grasses along the edge, and up we go. Past the kahikatea, and back down we go. Not sure if it's even cohesive, but haven't got much time, so. And down by the little creaky streamy thing, and along we go. So I see, as you can see by this path, nature clearly abhors a vacuum. I mean, you clear even a tiny sliver so you can actually get a path in, but it's not going to stay like that unless you keep clearing it. Woo! We got a stream here, and judging by that tree's buttress roots, I can't guarantee you. I think it's a kahikatea. So obviously, like swampy areas, has thick buttress roots, and I think it is, judging by what I can see of the leaves, but can't really get that well on camera. So yeah, I think that's kahikatea. Oh god, does it go this way? Right. Dun, dun. Okay. And luckily we're going back down. Hop. Bit of a view. Whee! Jolly good exercise. Ooh. Okay. Yes. And down we go. Past it. Supplejack. Sometimes I feel like a horse is trotting along. See the stream winding its way down. And down we go. And there we have it. I think that's a kaifara. Wait, I can't even remember what stream that is. I don't think it's a kaifara, nah. And it winds its way down. Out it goes to sea that way. Where the sea's, I think the sea's more that way, but yep. And I think this is, whoa, the route home. Not home, but back to the picnic ground. You just see how open this section of the valley is. Oh my god. Okay, I think this is the way back. Yeah, it said picnic ground. Otherwise this episode should be called Salem Gets Lost. A Gardener Gone Wild gets lost. Gardener Gone Wild gets lost. And up we go. I see sunlight. Okay, what does the sign say? Ah yes. There we are, picnic area down these stairs. And guess what? Say hello to the stream again. That is a same stream after all. How silly, I didn't even observe that. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I'm obviously a really observant person. Here we are. Back down the bridge. Oh, hello Fantail. Hello. Hey, you like that Koromiko over there? Oops. Whee! Hey. Okay, whee! Woohoo! Rightio. So, we're in the picnic basin. Wait, picnic basin? Ah, it's a picnic basin. And I'm just about to leave this amazing space. And... hello, little friend. How are you? Hey? Oops, a bit blurry. You're a big one, aren't ya? Hey? Chip chip! Okay, goodbye. So here we are, back at the kauri. Agathis australis for any Latin buffs out there. As you can probably hear, I'm not sounding that aerobically adept. But then again, I made a pretty good speed heading up and down the hill, so I think I'm allowed that. So here we go. Nice walk. Thinks I need to re-energize. It's amazing how we've got little gardens here and... oh yes, hybrids. Got to say, you know, your lancewood is a pseudopanax. Your five finger, which I don't think that's technically a five finger. Where's one? We'll imagine there's one. We'll just go with that one. Where is it now? So, our lancewood's a pseudopanax. Our five fingers are pseudopanax. When you breed them together, you get something that looks a bit like a hybrid. Sort of in between a lancewood and a five finger. Hand little signs always remind me of good stuff. So, you know, it's quite an interesting one because pseudopanax crassiflorus, yep, whatever it is, and pseudopanax leseni, the lancewood, they interbreed obviously, and it's potentially deemed a conservation issue because, well, you know, hybridization, they could end up, you know, being the fact that the actual individual species alone could become quite rare. However, I don't even see it as a problem. It's just nature's way of adapting, you know, when nature has an opportunity to, you know, settle different environments, different species intermingle, you're going to get all sorts of interesting stuff happening. And here we have some of our native broom, which looks quite different to your introduced exotic-y, well, broom from, I think it's called Scotch broom, isn't it? So, obviously Scotland or Europe or somewhere like that. With the main really obvious leaf, though typically they're bunched in, like, you know, real little bunches together instead of singles out from a leaf, you know, pinnate. It's actually technically, it's not even bipinnate, it's tripinnate. Tripinnate leaves. Well, we'll call them tripinnate leaves. I believe this is a stem, this is a leaf, this is another leaf, sets of leaves coming out of leaves, and then there's other sets of leaves coming out of leaves. So I think that's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if there is in fact no such thing as a tripinnate leaf. But I personally believe that is a perfectly good contender. Anyway, up we go. Past these well buttressed tall trees. And onwards and upwards to the end of this video, which I believe is actually impending. So, yeah, it's just soak in the vista. beautiful landscape, beautiful gardens, and all I can say is the team here at Otari-Wilton's Bush do a stunning job of this place, and the bush is just stunning. Everything's just stunning, so yeah, just think this place is awesome. Hope this channel's awesome, and yeah, well, I hope you tune in next time for the next episode of Gardener Gone Wild. And by the way, as usual, please remember to like this awesome video and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I guess it's time for me to kick back, relax. Not that I do that because I have to shoot off. And yeah, keep watching these awesome videos from Gardener Gone Wild. Goodbye.